Okay, let's do this again. All right, we got 2 people watching. All right, trying again. I see. Yes, yes, we are. Combat Carl is in a bad storm right now, and that's why he was lagging out real bad. However, Palmetto, you want to jump on? What's going on, cuz? Hey, Palmetto, I'm going to send you a message. Oh, well, never mind. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on.
Was it lagging?
Yeah, a little bit. Alrighty, guys, give me a minute. Ah. Oh man.
Young Commander Calderas believes that the demonic scourge will flee for a bloody show at righteous.
Bluegill fishing tomorrow. Good deal. Good deal. Maurice, how things been?
I'll be damned if I send my life.
Speaking of chilly, we just had a cold front roll through yesterday. It was about 45 to 50 today. That I understand, Maurice. I do, and my heart's out to you. Really is. It's got to take everything one day at a time. It's all we can do. Wonder if I can do a three-way on this. Maurice, you want to join in? What's
Hey,
up?
what's up? What up?
Not much. What's going on?
Oh, not a whole lot. So
How things there?
what are they telling you guys fishing wise down that way? What you can and can't do?
Well, right now we don't really have much anywhere around us with boat ramps. Everything around us is an hour away, so pretty much everything with boat ramps and stuff like that is closed. But
Not up here. Everything up this way is still open, all the lakes and stuff. And they're still
that's
letting
good.
boats go out and everything. Table Rock, Bull Shoals, Taneycomo, Lake of the Ozarks, Palmy Terre, Stockton, Fellows, they're all letting people get out, take their boats.
Well, last thing I heard was like up north, like Lake of the Ozarks and Stockton was putting a kind of a not letting boats go out off the ramps because of the virus.
No, there was a release today by the Missouri Department of Conservation. They had posted it on Facebook this afternoon. They went live and they posted and said that they are still allowing the boating. They just tell you that no bigger than groups of 10 on your boats, and maintain the social distancing if possible, unless they are your family in the boat with you.
Right.
But they've reopened. They had Lake of the Ozarks, Stockton, Palmy Terre, Truman, and a lot of those closed due to the outbreak, and then they reopened all of them and said, go ahead, take the boats out, because nobody's really hanging out partying together. They're just getting out on their boats and going fishing and stuff.
Right.
So it's not hot enough out for girls to get out in their bikinis, so not a lot of them are going to be out on boats right now. I mean, I might get in a bikini and go do some fishing just to see, talk about some serious social distancing right there. I don't think nobody want to get within 1,000 feet of that boat.
Some of us might have to pay to put your clothes back on.
There you go. Reverse stripper.
Not even your wife would get on that boat.
My wife would get on that boat with me.
That's funny.
But I tell you what, we'd have the lake to ourselves. Promise you that. Ain't nobody going to be out there to see me in a bikini. They'd be like, nope, I'm not going in that water.
Right. I was getting ready to say, I'm waiting on some more fishing equipment to come in. That way I got my bigger stuff set up.
What are you running?
The rod that I just got for me, Felicia, and TJ is a medium heavy rod that I carry on my online store, and it is capable of holding up to 80 pounds. And it's it's more heavy than it is medium heavy, but it's an ocean rod. And then the reels are the Ming Yang CL60s, and I'm going to put 80-pound line on them.
Right on. Yeah,
I've been running and Big Cat.
I've been running my Shakespeare a lot, my ugly stick, because it's a 7-1.
Right.
And I was talking to some of the guys before Bass Pro closed down. Several of the pros were coming through, and pretty much all of them are saying they're going with the 7-1s, especially right now with the white bass running, with all the crappie going, because the 7-1 has got that quick reaction, that quick hit to it. So they were all talking about how, getting a 7-1 set up, doesn't matter what the rod, reel, what the combo is. They said, this is what we use, but it doesn't matter what you use as long as you've got a really good 7-1, it's going to have that really quick reaction.
Right.
So, I mean, it's kind of it depends on where we're going fishing, though, because a lot of times I'll use my ultralight just to go snap in some little bluegills and some small crappie, some little sun perch here and there. I'll grab my ultralight just for, just to play around. Just catching and releasing little bitty things.
Have you seen the video that was up on my channel that I put on called Slab of a Perch?
No.
You should check it out. TJ caught a bluegill. I swear to God, that thing was like 1.5 pounds.
Nice.
Yeah. It was good size.
I was on the Facebook page. It's a bluegill, bass, and catfish page.
Right?
And a guy caught a massive sun perch. I have never seen one this big.
5.5.
It was 5.5 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
You need to send that to me through Messenger. That way I can post it up on my page.
Yeah, I'll grab the link. I'll grab it off of Facebook, and I'll grab that picture and stuff and send it to you.
Okay.
Of course, I took Lizzie fishing. We took Lizzie a couple weeks ago. Her first time, being a 4-year-old. Got her little Mickey Mouse pole out, and she caught a little perch. She was super excited on that. She was like, "Yay, I got my first fish." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, Now you caught one, keep doing it." And she was not interested in catching any more.
How are you doing this evening, Jason? Yeah, whenever Lily, it was funny. Whenever I went fishing and the last time she decided to join, I had just got a hit on the pole and I knew it was already locked on, so I didn't reel it in. And I told Lily to come over, so she came running over to where I was. And just the look on her face was just hilarious.
Sorry, I got kicked out for a second. My bad.
Well, it could be your signal.
No, I hit a button on my phone. Sorry.
I don't know. There could be a lot going on my internet too.
But right now as it stands, I've been trying to keeping in touch with the city, people at the health department, the conservation department, to find out what's available, what's not available. Walmart had a ban on what they called as non-essential and weren't selling anything for a while. That was related to fishing or camping or things like that. And almost every Walmart in town now has lifted that, and they're allowing the sales to go back out on those products.
Well, what's really funny is our local store, the closest to us, you go down to the catfishing section, and it's almost completely empty. But all the bass and crappie and bluegill and all the smaller fish, that whole aisle's packed.
Well, here, because like I said,
one little section in our Walmart for catfishing stuff.
Well, here our catfishing section is pretty good size. It's the one by me, and they've had, like I said, they closed it all down for a while, but now they're reopening it. Everything's going off the shelves. They're selling out of bass rigs. They're selling out of crappie and panfish, all the catfish stuff, like hotcakes. They're selling a whole lot of Gary Yamamoto stuff.
Oh
All
yeah,
his little worms, they're going fast.
yeah. The
Which I don't
Yamamoto is pretty good stuff.
I like his rubbers because they are, pretty quick action on them. But for the most part, what I found recently was a lot of them are biting on minnows like crazy, especially those crappie. They're going crazy over the minnows and sort of the white bass.
You're right.
And I heard from a couple of people that were saying that in Galena right now that the fish were really going good. So they say as long as you're 6 foot distance, that you're good to go down there. They've reopened a lot of the roadside park down towards Forsyth, down in Forsyth area. They got a little roadside park. You can go down and fish off the banks there. There's a boat ramp right on there, and they've opened that back up and let a lot of people go back down there. They're just not letting anybody play in the park, of course, but there's a lot of fishing right in there. Tanya and I go out there at least 2 or 3 times a year down to that spot, and there's some.
Doesn't Forsyth have an area that goes back on the other side of Bull Shoals?
Yes. It's a long lap around, but it's worth it.
I haven't been that way in a little while.
Side, and there's been a lot of luck on bass down there. We'll see guys out on their boats yanking up big stringers full of fish. I mean, they're because Taneycomo into Bull Shoals is pretty much a hodgepodge. It's just a ton of all kinds of different fish.
Right.
So,
I mean, I don't know what's going on, but I'm getting a bad lag.
Let me check mine. Is that better on my end?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I had apps running in the background. I had to close them out. So, but tip wise, right now, all I can say is just follow the guidelines, keep up looking at the conservation site. Check that out, see what they're telling you. If nothing else, call your local site. You could call pretty much any branch of conservation in your area, and they'll tell you what they've got going. But as far as lately, like I said this afternoon, the director for the conservation department, he's been going live just about every day, talking about the do's and don'ts, where you can and can't go, what's opening, what's closing. Several of them have remained open. Several of them have closed and reopened. Only a few of them are closed throughout the state where you cannot go. And most of the ones that you cannot go to are either boat ramps and stuff that are owned privately, or they're owned by a individual group other than the Corps of Engineers.
I was going to say, because all last week that was a little bit different. Because last week there wasn't anyone there.
Last week, even the Corps of Engineers and everybody said, hey, we're closing down this. But several of the ones that they had listed, they decided not to close. And that's just because they've had so much resilience on the fact that, yeah, we have a stay-at-home order, but they also, statewide, the governor said it, the CDC has released information on it, and it's all up to the states now. But a majority of states all the way across the nation are saying, hey, you know, we're opening up fishing because, you know, people staying at home all the time is going to run them rampant. They're going to go insane. So let's just let them go fishing, get out and hike, let them get out, get some exercise. And they consider fishing as a mental and physical exercise.
Right.
Because they're saying, you know, it helps with the anxiety, depression, stress. And they're saying that fishing does both. It kind of elevates and calms. So you got a flip side of it, but depends on how much you fish and how much you actually enjoy it. And of course, anxiety is a big part of it. When you lose a $30 lure, you know, it gets snagged on something that you think is a 45-pound fish and instead it's a log. So there's a little bit of anxiety with that one, but everybody can agree that that's a big issue there.
My issue is whenever I'm sitting there fishing on the very bottom and I get that turtle that pulls up underneath the tree, and the next thing I know, the turtle quits pulling, and then you feel the big bite, and all of a sudden you go to set the hook and you're hooked on the damn log.
Yep.
And you lose it all.
Been there, done that many a time.
Hey, you bought me a brand new lure. I didn't even have 24 hours and it got gone.
Yep.
I think I catch more stick fish than I do fish, period.
That's right. We call them a tree bass.
It was on a rock. Damn fish took me up under a rock and then let it go and it got stuck.
Oh.
Yeah, Jay's catfishing said something about don't believe the CDC. Yeah, I don't follow a lot of what they're saying just because it's kind of nobody really knows what they're actually doing. But that's why I've been mostly trying to follow the guidelines of whatever the conservation department's telling me, you know, because they can't say, yeah, this is allowed, and then law enforcement step in and say, oh, no, it's not. Well, there's kind of a conflict there. But, going back, like I said earlier, I would just suggest, reach out to your local conservation department just to see what they say. Because not all of them are going to have the same thing. You know, some offices are saying, yeah, go ahead. Some offices are saying, not here. We don't want that happening.
Well, see, with you and I, we're in the same district of the conservation, so.
Right. But, any viewers who might not be in the Missouri area,
Oh, yeah.
Contact your department and find out what their recommendations are. Find out where they're allowing fishing or what they're allowing people to do right now. I just know that here in Missouri, they've started reopening a whole lot of stuff.
$27 muskie lure, I think I didn't.
Ouch. Ouch, Jays. Ouch. I feel your pain there, buddy. I've lost a few of them in my time, too.
What?
Losing a very expensive lure. He lost a $27 muskie lure. Always double check, make sure they're tied right. I've made that mistake before many a time. I've cast out and was like, oh, did I tie that right? And then I see my lure go one way and my string go the other. I'm like, yeah.
I tell you what, like when I'm fishing with liver and I thought I had it set good on my treble hook and I go to flick it out there. And it's funny because you got your weight and everything there, and all of a sudden your line and lure goes one direction and your bait goes completely the other. It's
yep.
Like, well, shit.
I've also done that fishing with just regular bait, and I'll go to fling and get a real good cast out and get it out away from the shoreline quite a ways, and I'll see my worm go flying through the air, and I'm like, well, there goes my weight and my hook. Why is my worm going that way?
Yep.
So.
Hey, my uncle lost an $8 bobber.
Yeah, my wife's uncle, he was, we all went night
Just
fishing.
Bought it.
And so he bought one of those magical light-up bobbers because the fish are definitely going to be attracted to that one. And so he buys this real expensive $8 bobber and loses it after like his third cast.
It wasn't on good enough.
And he's like, look, I cast it way out there. He goes, there's my bobber out there. And he goes, I can't get my line to reel in, though. I think I've got one. And then we turned on the flashlight, and his hook was setting up at the top eye, and he was still reeling in on himself. and his bobber was way out up against the dam wall down below Bagnall.
Oh man, it actually got pretty cool today.
Yeah, it did get a little chill. I heard several guys this morning were out on Bull Shoals. A couple of guys were out on Palmy Terre this morning saying that they were catching some pretty good smallies. Thanks, Fishing with Tanner.
Hey, at least we're getting some people coming in.
Yeah.
I did this last week and was on for like an hour and 15 minutes, and then everybody starts showing up like 35, 45 minutes into the deal. He just got booted off again.
Sorry. I was closing out. I had an app pop up, and I was trying to close out of it, and instead it kicked me out. Sorry. My bad. I'm an asshole like that. Don't judge me, people.
That's true.
Hey, it takes an asshole to know an asshole.
That's right. At least I can admit it. That's why I usually introduce myself as, hi, I'm Mike. I'm an asshole. That way nobody's surprised later on. They're like, this guy's a dick. I'm like, duh. I am the guy that you have to warn all your friends about before introducing.
I didn't warn Abby.
Amen.
That is for sure.
People show up and they're like, well, you might meet Mike. Let me tell you about him.
I didn't warn.
Then I walk in, they all look at me and they're like, that's the guy? Like, he's an asshole. I'm like, I tried to tell you.
Is really dirty, all types, under trees, old leaves, and but all that. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm gonna show this. I do have to say, with all those trees and leaves and stuff down there on the bottoms of the rivers, it does create good structure for the fish to hide in. But man, it costs you a lot of money whenever you're trying to pull the fish and stuff out of there.
If you got a lot of that underbrush, I've been using frogs and trying to hop along, get caught by a lot of that structure, and tug along a few frogs here and there with some crawdads, something that's got a little chatter to it and kind of just skims the surface, but not too deep. And they'll come out of that surface to eat. They'll come out of that structure. So you just got to find the right thing depending on the river, depending on how dirty it is. If it's really brown, really dark and dingy, use some crawfish. If it's got quite a bit of moss and pretty green, I'd say use a frog. But it does provide some really good structure, and a lot of the structure that I'm used to is a big towering tree standing way up out of the water, and everybody's like, oh, it can't be that tall. And I'm like, well, you think there's 300 feet deep down there, so it's a pretty damn tall tree. And that's where these guys are hooking up a lot of crappie around a lot of the structure down out at Stockton. They're hooking up because they love that structure down there.
I was going to say, one of the spots I like to try to go fishing at, and I haven't been there for, what was it, last year or the year before last when we went down to Viney Creek.
Hey, Jays, where are you catching that white drum at? I was waiting to see kind of where he was replying because he said that white drum would destroy the crawl. I'm trying to see where he's getting those white drum at.
But yeah, Viney Creek Campground is owned by the Corps of Engineers, and right now the state and the Corps decided not to do anything with it, so it's completely closed. But if you get in that cove back between there, between Emerald Beach and Viney Creek, there's one spot of it that's just loaded down with trees, and it's 45, 50 foot deep just through that one area. And then once you get in the center of the cove, it's like real close to 100 foot down, and you can pull some big fish out of there.
A lot of the big rivers and creekside, because we had some pretty heavy rain for quite a few weeks, and they were still waiting on a lot of those rivers to go back down before they're letting anybody get out on them, because the Corps of Engineers and the Conservation Departments both deemed that they were still unsafe, because they did have a lot of trees and stuff uproot that are big underbrush that are hanging out still in certain areas, and you really can't see them, so you'll end up getting hooked up on something. So that's why they're saying
Whole shoals over there by the Harrison side.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why they're trying to say if it's a big open lake, go ahead, have fun. They want something that you're less likely to be in any obstructions.
Right.
I know a couple weeks ago we were out at Springfield Lake, and there was a lot of people out kayaking after the river had gone down.
That's good side rum.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Clicked on a live that said Roland Martin, and let me tell you, not even close to Roland Martin, and not even talking about fishing. That's good. That's good to know there. Thanks, Tanner.
Thanks, Jay.
I have the body.
What are they? What's the Department of Conservation stating about Illinois right now? I guess Jay's only catching part of it in and out.
Hang on.
Where are some of our other Where are some of the other followers from? I mean, what is your state's conservation department's telling you guys about fishing right now?
Got a lot. Look at all those.
Utah.
Don't worry, it's not the Rona. It's a smoker. Tanner, do you guys got a lot going on up there in Utah right now? Is it pretty open fishing, or are they putting a lot of rules and restrictions on you guys as well?
Right. I'm kind of curious.
I'm curious about several other states. I've heard some states are wide open. They're allowing it everywhere, and I've heard other states are pretty tight on what they're allowing. Everything. All right. Thanks, Jace. Let's see. Everything is off rivers and lakes, but I see other people from here still going, but I'm not going to risk my fishing license for not paying the loss for that.
I don't blame you,
Jace. I don't blame you for that. Here in Missouri, though, they actually said that they were moving to where they moving out getting the licenses for fishing up until April 16th, I believe.
Yeah, it's free fishing in Missouri until April 16th, which is 6 more days left.
We already had our license before that happened, though.
Oh, I bought my license right at the beginning of March.
Well, we
again.
There's the conservation as of recently said they're not sure yet, but may possibly extend
the free fishing.
the free fishing out.
If they do, it'll probably be until the end of the month.
Probably. I don't think it's going to last very long. It may be only a few weeks or a few days.
Right.
But there was several people commenting this morning on several of their posts asking about, are we getting an extension? Some places don't want to sell them right now. When's Bass Pro going to open up? There was just a lot of questions that people are still concerned about. What can I and can't I do right now because of all this? So, and they asked some pretty good questions on there. I'll send you a link to their page. I'll get you the invite for the Conservation Department's page. Like I said, they post a video just about every day, if not every day. And a lot of their stuff that they've been posting is pretty promising, considering, what everybody else, what a lot of states are going through. They're being pretty positive on stuff right now, trying to keep everything open for what's the
Yeah. Keep losing. There he is.
Yep, sorry. So they're trying to keep a very positive outlook right now for most of Missouri. Like I said, there's still a few rivers trying to keep people off of. They have not been cleared out yet. They're not a priority, so there is a lot of underbrush.
Oh, yeah.
We were supposed to go with the James River Basin Partnership Group to go do the Earth Day project, go do the Operation Stream Clean. And because of all the COVID-19, of course, they canceled that out. But typically that event is where we get a lot of people. They'll come out on boats, will come out on kayaks, canoes. People just walk the rivers and pick up trash and pick up debris and get rid of a lot of the logs and stuff that are in people's way that could potentially cause a hang-up and cause someone to flip or drown.
Right. Yeah, it's real close to spawning season right now for us, too.
We've got...
Still going, but right after spoon billing gets done is when spawn starts hitting hard.
Yeah, we got a lot of spoonbill snagging right now. We should, because the leaves are turning on the dogwoods and the cherry blossoms right now. So it's time for those white bass to be up and running hard and heavy within the next week to 2 weeks. They will be moving hard and heavy.
White bass is already moving hard through Kings River.
Yeah. They're not, the further up north you go, they're not quite moving as much as they are further down south or east or west, but the further up north you start getting to the top of the state, they're just not hardly doing anything. Spotted bass, though, are on the move pretty good right now. I've heard some guys going out at Table Rock have been picking up a lot of striper, and picking up some large and some smallies along the way. So Jay's wanting to know where TJ is.
Oh, he's staying tonight at a friend's house.
They're playing who can catch coronavirus first right now.
Actually, no.
They're going to be daring each other to lick toilet seats tomorrow, so we'll see how it turns out.
I don't even know how many viewers we have going on right now.
Couple, it looks like. Tanner, I like rivers quite a bit. I got a few up here that are, up here in Springfield, this way, that are pretty decent sized. Uh, yeah, I know, Tanner. We do talk a lot about the rivers.
Yeah, we got more rivers around here than we do lakes,
Yeah,
but we do have we got
Main-
lakes around us, but
everywhere. I mean, we got rivers that connect to other rivers that connect to other rivers, and so on and so forth. And you'll have 4 or 5 lakes connected by several rivers that run out of them, several different streamways. I mean, we've got hundreds of thousands of miles of river.
well, what's funny is Stockton feeds into Spring River, and Spring River feeds into Grand Lake down in Oklahoma.
Yeah. And also, Stockton feeds into Fellows Lake.
Yes.
It's a pipeline. So, and, it bypasses through Sauk River, which turns over to Palm Terre Lake, which feeds into, I mean, it's a never ending.
Yeah, Pomme de Terre, and then the Pomme de Terre goes over to Bull Shoals, and then down to Table Rock.
It loops back through over by Stockton. And Pomme de Terre, part of it, there's a branch off that runs upstream. You go quite a ways, it'll run into a dry bed, and then it'll link back into another river that'll run up and connect you up to the Missouri River. So it's a lot of streams connecting to other streams, connecting to lakes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Tanner, you will hear us talk a lot about the streams here, but our lakes are pretty good for fishing, but our rivers are excellent for fishing here.
Bull Shoals is a lake that is just a little northeast of Table Rock Lake of Branson, Missouri.
Yeah.
And it's a good fishing lake. It really is. And not a lot of, except for like all the people around this area, Bull Shoals is a really good fishing lake. Table Rock Lake is a good fishing lake, but not a lot of people know about them because not a lot of people think about Southwest Missouri area or Northwest Arkansas about all the lakes that we have in this specific area.
In which Table Rock is officially the biggest lake, man-made lake around. It actually has more square miles than the entire outline border of the state of California. So it is a very big lake. Parts of it run into Arkansas, run throughout Missouri. Of course, after you break off from the dam in Branson, it turns into Taneycomo. From Taneycomo, turns over into Bull Shoals.
Hey, last time I looked it up, it was like 54 or 6,400. It was like, I want to say it was like 64,000 or something like that. It was either 64,000 or 54,000 acres.
Yeah, it's gigantic.
Land frontage alone.
I mean, it's massive. I've
it is.
spent a lot of time on Table Rock. A lot of the pro guys from Bass Pro Series, even Lowe's Boats guys. Of course, Cabela's is now owned by Bass Pros, but there's a lot of pro fishermen out there. Every year they'll have 10, 15, even 20 tournaments going on down on Table Rock and, of course, up at Lake of the Ozarks, because those are two of the most well-known hot spots for bass. But, I mean, you want some serious catfishing, I would suggest Truman Lake, either on the Warsaw side or the Deep Lake side, which is heading down towards Kansas City. Great place for some monster cat.
Oh, dude, Table Rock's got some monster cat in there. People just don't know where they hide.
Table Rock's got a wide variety of fish. Like it's only got bass. It only no. There's a ton of different varieties of fish out there.
There's gar. There's all sorts in there.
Gar, alligator gar. We have some walleye. We've got several different breeds of bass. The cat.
We have sturgeon down here too.
Yeah, we do have some sturgeon. We do have quite a few of them actually in Bull Shoals.
Muskie's more north. Muskie's more north of us.
We do have a few of them at Fellows. Fellows Lake is known for having quite a bit of muskie here.
I knew we had some around this area, but they're more common north because muskie likes to travel with the walleye and the pike, and that's more northern Missouri.
Well, Fellows Lake is known very well for their walleye and for their muskie.
Do they stock, or is it?
I mean, it started out, like I said, a lot of them feed in. A lot of the water and stuff feeds out from Stockton. So occasionally someone will pick one up out in Stockton because that interchange between the two, the waterway. But for the most part, they stay in that Fellows Lake pretty regular. Right. It's not really stock. It's not. They don't stock it. It's just natural that's where they've been forever and ever and ever. So.
Yeah, they quit stocking Table Rock years ago because of so many of the rivers that come in and feed in through there.
Yeah, there's no need for it anymore.
Yeah. Grand Lake, they used to stock the crap out of Grand Lake years ago. Now the only thing they really stock Grand with is spoonbill right after they hatch them.
Let's see. Tanner said they've got a lot of tiger. They've got tiger muskie up in
Utah.
Northern pike, close to the North Wisconsin border from Jay's. Salmon, steelhead, big trout in Lake Michigan.
We have steelhead and trout.
We got most of our breeds of trout here are going to be your brown and your rainbow.
Yep. We have some steelhead.
We do have some. Most of your steelhead, though, you're going to find either right down close to the dam, Taneycomo, or you're going to find them in the offshoot where it interchanges between Taneycomo and the Bull Shoals.
Yep.
Along the main streamline, you won't find many of the steelhead because it's a high populated where there's a lot of people all the time, lots of boats going in and out. So they don't typically stay around that area very long.
No.
They move up the stream pretty fast, and when they open up the dams below Table Rock, it floods it out, and those steelhead get moving quick.
I tell you,
you catch one or two here and there. Somebody might accidentally get one up along the full stretch somewhere, but the most part they try to get to that Bull Shoals head pretty quick because there's a little spawning pool down there with a lot of other feeder fish for them to eat.
Trout fishing, but I hate trout so much that they're brookies or browns.
Tanner, I mean, if you ever want to come get some serious trout fishing, of course, we have Bennett Springs State Park that is very well stocked all time.
Ryan River.
They've got a hatchery attached to it. Same thing with Taneycomo. There's a hatchery right at the base below the dam. So we've got a whole lot of trout fishing here. If you're really looking for bass, though,
this is the bass capital of the United States.
Yeah, I mean, we've got bass everywhere, different breeds across the board.
You want bass fishing? You really good bass fishing. You get in Table Rock Lake and fish.
Absolutely. I mean,
Rock's known for bass fishing.
I've never had a miss day going out to Table Rock. You know, there's a lot of lakes here where you'll have days where it's either hit or miss. But every time I step onto Table Rock somewhere, I hit. It's that good of a spot. And you will see anglers all year round. It doesn't matter if it's 10 degrees outside or 100 degrees outside. They're all over that lake.
I want to say in June or July, hopefully this year again. I want to say it was around July last year. The FLW tour came through with Bass Pro and did Table Rock for a bass.
July. It's at the end of July, beginning of August.
That's what I thought it was right around there.
The last 3 days in July and the first 2 or 3 days of August. So
yeah.
It's usually 5-6 days long, but you'll get to see some pretty cool guys out there. I mean, some guys not everybody's a big fan of, some guys everybody loves, but you know, it is what it is. But a lot of these guys are real cool, laid back. They'll sit and talk with you, drink a beer with you, give you some tips here and there. A lot of times they'll even take you out on their boat if they got downtime after the tournament. They'll take you out fishing, show you where they've been fishing. So
That's how I learned a lot of my fishing around here. And whenever I used to live down by Table Rock, that's how I ended up. Besides, I had grown up through that area from like growing up through summers because my parents always had property down there. And whenever I was in my late teens to early 20s, I had property down there. So I spent most of my summers and most of my time out there fishing all the time. So, I mean, I know the good spots where you can pick up a bunch of stuff.
right.
But you gotta have a boat to get in the real good spots.
Jay, we do. At least I know I do. I don't know.
I really don't.
You don't fish with live shiners much?
No, if I'm fishing for bass, I use lures.
Yeah.
I'll do like a Texas rig.
It kind of depends on the lake, really, though. Like I said, some are hit and miss. Stockton is one that you can use live shiners most of the time. That's what they're going to hit on. As far as just, hungry bass, they're going to bite on the lures all day, every day out on Table Rock.
Oh yeah,
all day, every day. Occasionally they'll bite on the shiners, but you got to be in certain areas of the lake. You got to be back up in certain coves, or be close to certain formations on the rock beds. You got to know right where to go in order to even get them to start on the shiners.
I almost want to say that the world record largemouth bass came out of Table Rock. Pretty close to it. There it was at one point in time.
I would have to look at that again. Last thing I knew, as far as record wise, a guy caught one here not too long ago out at Lake Springfield last year. That was a record. It was by a fluke. Nobody was expecting it. I was 6 feet from the guy on another dock, and he's like, I've never seen a bass that big come out of this lake. Well, nobody had. So
How big was it?
I can't remember the total pounds it was, but it was a record. I know that. I think it might have just been a state record. I'm not sure if it was a world, but I believe it was a state record.
Well, I was gonna say my Uncle Pat was fishing with somebody one time down at Table Rock, and at the time, his buddy pulled up a 25-pound largemouth out of there, and at that time, it held a record.
Yeah, there is
They get huge down there.
Oh yeah. I've got several different areas that I visit along Table Rock. It depends on if you're by boat or if you're just going along the shoreline. Now, if you're going by boat, I've got a ton more places than I do by shore.
Right.
Like I said, if you catch a lot of these guys on the tour, the pro tours, you can even sign up to go fish with them for a day while they're doing these tournaments. I think it was like last year was like $50. Got you 3 days with a pro. They take you around and show you all the hot spots on the lake. They would even give you tips and tricks of how to set up your rigs properly. Make sure you had the right, equipment. Tell you what you need to keep in your boxes, and what to expect with each breed of bass, with each type of fish you're catching.
Right.
So, it's worth that investment. It's worth a little bit of money, even if you consider yourself as a great fisherman. It's kind of like with anything. I mean, there's always someone better or more knowledgeable than you are out there. And a lot of these new guys hitting the scene who have become recently, I should say, who've become pros, semi-pro fishermen doing these tournaments, a lot of them have actually even said, hey, we go back to the old school, old Jimmy Houston and a lot of these guys. These are who we really admire. These are the guys who taught us over the years. Yeah, $50, Tanner. I mean, they will run all kinds of specials here in Missouri, depending on the lake, depending on the tournament. It's also depending on the pro. Like 5 years ago, I got to go down and meet Kevin Van Dam, and he showed me a bunch of different tips and tricks. Showed me a few good spots down on Table Rock. Kind of coached me along and said, this is the kind of combo you want set up. This is the kind of lure you want to use for this type of bass, or, so, and some of these pros will even do it for free sometimes. It just depends on, what they've got going on. And a lot of these newer guys who are semi-pro, just kind of working their way up to get that pro status. A lot of these new guys will actually, come along the shoreline and grab someone up who's just out there, happens to be fishing. They'll come along, scoop them up and say, hey, come with me. I need an extra man. So.
Oh. Yeah, I've been thinking about trying to hold a tournament, and I don't know. I want to, but the way with everything how it's going right now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to. I want to do a tournament somewhere.
Well, as of recently, I know that there's been a lot of people, a lot of chatter going on Facebook, different communities, fishing-wise, where they have actually expressed, why don't we get out, show the, do something statewide that, shows that we're coming back stronger than ever. We're all in this together. And I've heard a lot of people actually talking that they want to get out and do some kind of fishing tournament. And not necessarily as like the pros do, where it's a big ton of money coming out or these big trophies, things like that. But, just as kind of a get-together tournament, more so than anything. Kind of bragging rights, like, ha ha, I caught a bigger bat, I caught a bigger smallie, ha ha, I caught the biggest largemouth type deal. Just for bragging rights, for S&Gs, just for, for goofs, something fun to do. So.
Yeah, we went out to Sugar Island and decided to stay an overnight there. And I was fishing, and I didn't get anything caught, but I was getting bites the entire night. And at one point in time throughout the night, I ended up getting a bite that snapped the line whenever I went to go set the hook, and thinking it may have been a gar, but I was deep enough in the water where it possibly could have been a gar, or it could have been a real big catfish, because I know that real good sized catfish float through Big Sugar Creek.
Yeah.
A lot of flatheads in there.
There are a lot of flats in Big Sugar Creek, but there's also quite a bit in the way of gar.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly needle nose gar, but there are some alligator gar in there. Not a whole lot, but some. They're kind of a hit and miss here and there.
At Table Rock.
Absolutely.
Great outdoors. I agree with you there. I either want to do that, or I want to go over there to Sugar Island and do it out there, because at least he's got the camp space to be able to do it, and plus he could actually use some of the income from everyone camping for the tournament.
There's a few places also along Table Rock where there's quite a few guys who are independent, and they'll take you out on
I know some good spots. You got to have a boat.
Oh yeah, There's several of these guys who own these little mom and pop campgrounds all over Table Rock, and they'll take you out on boats, take you out for a while, and take you fishing. They'll let you rent their boats from the docks. They got slips and stuff. So Sugar Island's wouldn't be a bad idea, but if everybody wants to do a big bass, tournament, I'd say let's hit up Table Rock.
Yeah, Table Rock wouldn't be a bad spot at all, really. Either that.
No, it's kind of a when we do it to where we do it.
Right.
Depending on the time of year.
If I can make it happen, I want to try to have it especially if it's going to be Table Rock, I want to do it in early June, mid-June. So that way you're not getting, real beat up by all the heavy traffic of all the boaters, and then plus all the tournaments going on.
Right. Because most of the tournaments take place either beginning of July through early August.
Yep, and then they start hitting real hard in September.
Oh, yeah. I'd say let's do wow. That's great, Tanner.
Bill, who is that? I'm going to have to look that up now.
King of the Hill.
That is true.
For Great Outdoors, I don't know if you're a big fisherman on Table Rock or not. If you've got some ideas of some places for Table Rock, since it's such a big area, if you know of some good places, I'd say send out suggestions and leave some leave us a comment. Let us know kind of what you think of where a good place would be if you've got something, a spot that you like really, really well.
Right.
I kind of am partial to several places I like to go. It's kind of hard to get to, but if you got a boat and you got a little bit of time, coming out around behind the Johnny Morris's place out there on the lake. I just went blank. I had a brain fart moment. But down there by his condos and his big lakefront property. Yeah, brain fart. Sorry.
I'm just laughing because one of the comments that just popped up, this doesn't look right.
Wow. All right, Great Outdoors. That sounds kind of a personal problem there, bud. But, if you want to share with the group, that's fine. They got these great little pills you can get right now. You just got to talk to your doctor about that. Wow. But, there's several little landing places along the way that are real good spots to have it. I like going personally, like I said, up in behind Johnny Morris's properties down there because it's really good fishing spots there. Another one is right down by the Table Rock State Park Marina. There's a good boat ramp right there. There's a little spot by this little roadside park in there that guys will launch off there all the time, and I fish right back in around the cove from them. And like I said, I don't miss out there. So there's a few spots. It just depends on what everybody wants to do. The State Park Marina, though, is cheap. It's very inexpensive to camp out.
I forgot about Table Rock State Park Marina.
You can get a guided tour of the lake where they'll take you out and do fishing tours. You can rent pontoons, bass buggies, pretty much fishing barges. They give you a bunch of discounts if you stay and camp out there. So,
right.
it kind of also depends. There's a lot of people who come in their big campers and stuff and take up the big camper sites, and it kind of blocks your view of everything. But if you get it just right, like, if we're talking early to mid-June, I would say definitely we'll have a really good chance of getting some good spots out there. Because
to be open this year.
they are. From last I heard, Table Rock State Park Marina is going to be open. They're supposed to open everything fully. Let's see. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they said they were going to reopen the state park as early as the second week of May.
Well, I'm hoping it gives me another spot to go fishing.
And that's one of my favorite spots, just because there's really good coverage in a lot of spots there. There's a lot of structure in places. And like I said, you can rent boats up the wazoo all day, from kayaks, canoes, paddle boats, and just keep working your way up.
Right.
If we had a tournament together, we could all kind of, figure something up where we could all pitch in together and get a good group rate on a big site. So
we need to do like a big fishing float tournament kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, because like I said, we could get a Tanya, my wife Tanya, her old bus driver owns a campground floating down the Niangua. He's got a campground and float down there, and there's some pretty big sized cat down there and some good bass down the Niangua. And so we could get a really, really good deal on a group camp rate.
All right.
Tanner says, I'm in, just pick me up. Are you in for the tournament, or are you talking about what Great Outdoors said, Tanner?
Probably about what Great Outdoors.
Probably. I mean, he's talking about pike and walleye.
Yep.
I may go with Great Outdoors on this one. But I mean, if we're going to do something fishing tournament wise, just kind of a group of guys getting together, having a good time, and of course, like I said, bragging rights and shit like that, just for shits and giggles, I'd say we could do something. Try and get a group rate, see how many guys we can get tied into it, how many guys want to get in on this, and we get a big group of us together, rent the site, and maybe get a boat for the day, and or a couple boats, and go out on the water and a couple teams, and just have a heyday with it. Tanner says both.
Right. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but I'm going to have to go ahead and call it a night. I got some other things I got to do before hitting the bed.
All right. Thanks, guys, for chiming in. Appreciate all the questions and remarks. All right.
Definitely.
See you guys later.
All right. Take care, guys.